The anatomy of the male, we went through that, and then we stopped at physiology of the male. We're just looking at erection. What nervous system regulates erection?
Parasympathetic.
One, parasympathetic. Blank, gas released during dilation. NO. NO, nitrous oxide. Contractile bodies reduce venous flow, maintaining an erection. The number 3, blank are contractile bodies that reduce venous flow. Corpus or corpora cavernosa. Now, ejaculation is triggered by sympathetic, very good, sympathetic. So the first one is erection, parasympathetic. Ejaculation is sympathetic. Okay. Know the overview of spermatogenesis. Where is it happening? Seminiferous tubules. When does it commence? When does spermatogenesis start in males? Very good, very good. Ploidy of gametes. Haploid. Role of Sartoli cells.
They're like, they nourish the other cells.
The spermatogonia, right? They are assisting in the process of spermatogenesis. They are facilitating it. Role of Leydig cells. They make testosterone. How many spermatozoa are formed from a single spermatogonium? 4. Don't forget that. Role of hypothalamus, hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis. So, what does the testes make? Which hormone does the testes make? Testosterone. What is the hormone, like we did a while ago? What are the 2 hormones anterior pituitary make? LH and FSH. When does anterior pituitary make LH and FSH? GnRH. GnRH comes down through the portal system. Then you make LH and FSH. LH talks to Leydig cells to make testosterone. Right? FSH talks to Sartoli cells to help with spermatogenesis. Done. That will be the hormonal. Then hypothalamus, we did this already, right? Definitely you will see 1 or 2 questions on this axis. What is the anterior pituitary doing? What is the gonad doing? You know, that stuff. Then we came to female. Let's look at the location function of ovaries. How many ovaries do we have? 2. Uterine tubes, uterus and vagina. Are we good with the sequence? Ovaries, then uterine tubes. What is the other term for uterine tubes? Fallopian tubes. Then you have uterus, is where the baby is, the fetus grows, and then the vagina. Then you have external genitalia, labia majora, labia minora, mons pubis, clitoris. Are we good?
Do we just need to know what they are?
What they are and what's their function. So labia minora is the inner lip. Labia majora is the outer lip. Then mons pubis is where you have the pubic symphysis, right? It's anterior, where the pubic hair is, the pubic symphysis is. Behind that is where the bladder is. Then clitoris is it's not the organ of copulation, it's the excitatory organ, right? That's the excitatory organ of female. Then you have glands, vestibular glands that lubricate the vestibule, which is the opening to the vagina. Then you have mammary glands which make milk. Oogenesis, again, oogonium, primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, ovum. Oogonium sitting in the follicle, but the first primary oocyte, primordial follicle, secondary oocyte, Graafian follicle. So the primary oocyte goes through 3 follicles as it grows. Primordial follicle, primary follicle, secondary follicle. Secondary oocyte has Graafian follicle. So let us do stages let us do overview of oogenesis. We did this. Oogonium, primary oocyte, secondary oocyte, ovum. Are we good? The second one, compare oogenesis to spermatogenesis. Let's see. Which one starts at puberty? Spermatogenesis. Which one starts before birth? Oogenesis. How many cells at the end of spermatogenesis? How many cells at the end of oogenesis? How many polar bodies do you make in oogenesis? 2. You got it? Which one is unlimited source going through the lifetime? Spermatogenesis. Oogenesis is limited. When oogenesis stops, what is that stage called? Menopause. Very good. What are the stages in females? Menarche, menopause. We got the follicles. Let's list all the follicles. Primordial follicle, primary follicle, secondary follicle, Graafian follicle, corpus luteum and corpus albicans. What is the last follicle? Albicans. Which is the first follicle? Primordial. Are we good? What does a Graafian follicle become after ovulation? Corpus luteum. So make sure you know these things. Then, okay, additional questions. Oogonia. 2N or N? 2N. Any gonium is 2N. Where are they found? Oogonia? In the ovary. Then all oogonia start meiosis and differentiate into what oocytes? Primary oocytes. The primary oocyte is stopped at what stage? Prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Primary oocyte can be present in which other follicles? In what follicles until till you come to prepubertal girls? What is the only follicle you will see in a 5-year-old girl's ovaries? Primordial. You will not see anything else, because when are the follicles starting to grow back again? At puberty. Meiosis to resumes in secondary oocyte only after
Fertilization. Fertilization.
Is it
Puberty?
fertilization or entry of the sperm?
Oh.
Not fertilization, entry of the sperm. Primordial follicles surround the what oocyte? Primary oocyte. Primary follicles have a single layer and they surround a still a primary oocyte. I see a question mark.
History, what is 2N? What
What's
was the A question? What is that? The 2N question?
A?
Yeah, the additional questions. The A.
Oogonia, is it 2N or N?
What does that mean?
What? What does 2N and N mean?
Haploid or
Haploid or diploid? So you are oogonium becomes primary oocyte. Yes? Okay. Primary oocyte can be formed in what all follicles? Can be found in what follicles? What follicle is this? What? Based on how it looks, what follicle is that?
primordial.
Very good. Now what follicle is this? So now what follicle is this? What follicle is that?
Secondary.
Then, so you will see a primary oocyte in all those follicles. Primordial, primary, secondary. Now, you have the secondary oocyte. In what follicle? Mhm. What follicle is it? So where is the only place you will see a secondary oocyte in the Graafian
Graafian.
follicle? What is a secondary oocyte? Secondary oocyte is haploid, meaning it has finished meiosis 1 already. This is primary oocytes are still diploid, right? Oogonia are also diploid. You got it? Okay, that was G. Secondary follicle has many layers, and then what is it surrounding? What is a secondary follicle surrounding? It's just showing you that the oocyte is still growing. It has not finished meiosis 1. That's what it means. Which follicle ejects the secondary oocyte? Graphian. Which follicle becomes corpus luteum? Graphian. pH of the vagina in adult? Acidic, right? Okay, ovarian cycle. What are the stages of ovarian cycle? What is the first stage of ovarian cycle? Follicular phase. And the blank with you, what is after ovulation? Luteal phase. So what are the stages of ovarian cycle? Follicular phase, day 1 through 14. Ovulation, day 15. Day 16 till you get your period. Luteal phase. What's happening during follicular phase? What's happening during follicular phase? The follicles are growing. The primordial is becoming primary. Primary could be becoming a secondary could be becoming a Graphian, right? What is happening during follicular phase? The follicles are growing. Which hormone is necessary for follicular phase?
FSH.
FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is what is made. Now, which hormone is happening during luteal phase? You all? LH, luteal hormone. Role of corpus luteum, it's going to secrete progesterone, mainly progesterone, to start to increase the endometrium, right? Then hormones secreted by corpus luteum, we did this. Hormones during follicular phase, more of estrogen. Follicular phase is more of estrogen, luteal phase is more progesterone. Menstrual cycle. What are the phases of the menstrual cycle now? What's happening in the uterus? Menses, proliferation, secretion. Let me write it here so you overlap it. Follicular phase. Let me write the location so you all remember it. Ovary, follicular phase, then you have ovulation, then you have luteal phase. Now that's for the ovary. Now uterus. Uterus is menses, right? Then you have proliferation. Then you have secretory phase. You got it? So overlap these. Follicular phase starts first day of period. Then you have proliferation. Then you have, when there is luteal phase, there is secretory phase. When the luteal phase drops, then you are coming back to menses. I want you to put where what is happening. So ovarian cycle is that. Uterine cycle will be this. And then just know chlamydia. What does chlamydia cause? Look it up. What about trichomoniasis? Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria. Syphilis, treponema. So make sure you know the pathogens for these four. And then breast cancer, of course, endometriosis. What is cryptorchidism?
Failure of the testes
To descend. Prostatic cancer, cancer of the prostate. How is it going to impact somebody with prostatic cancer? Restrict the urethra, trouble urination, of course it is cancer. But prostatic cancer is slow progressing. It's by itself, it's not. And what is endometriosis? Irregular hyperplasia of the endometria. The endometrium grows thicker than it should and it's not regulated. Breast cancer is, of course, cancer of the mammary tissue. Age for mammograms, in the past it used to be 40 for everybody. I think now if you have incidence of breast cancer in the family, it's 35. So know that it is 40. Coming to pregnancy, sperm capacitation events before. Remember today I wrote it down. Like when the copulation happens, the sperm is released into the female tract, the vagina. Sperm has to be undergoing this thing called capacitation. It has to get ready before it can go. And then once it goes and tries to pierce, one sperm gets in. What is that word called? Monospermy. How is the polyspermy prevented? Your zona pellucida becomes impermeable. It will not allow any more sperm to come in. Fertilization is union of male and female pronucleus. So as soon as you hear the word fertilization, what's the next word that should come to your mind? Zygote, diploid. 23, you put them together. And then when is meiosis completed? So we speak once the sperm goes in, only then meiosis completes, only then fertilization will happen. Then you have pronucleus. What are the pronuclei? Each of them is haploid. Once you come together, then it becomes diploid. Then first cell post fertilization, is it haploid or diploid? Diploid. Diploid meaning having two sets of chromosomes, you all. We said fertilization, which means they have come together, right? So first cell post fertilization is a zygote. Then cleavage. Cleavage is nothing but the 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell. That's all called cleavage. Germinal stage. Then where does cleavage start in the female duct?
Ampulla?
In the fallopian tubule, right? And then it will start to go towards it. What are the stages leading up to blastocyst? So you will say zygote, 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell, 16 cell, 32 cell, 64 cell. Then you start calling it a blastocyst. About 100 cells. 100 hollow cells is a blastocyst. It's still in the zona pellucida. Once it comes to the uterus, it releases it, it hatches from there and then goes and implants it. What are these divisions? When we are doing 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cells, what divisions are we talking about? Mitosis. Underline mitosis. Never say meiosis at that point. You're doing regular divisions. You're just increasing the number of cells. They are exactly like one another. You take the 8 cells from that stage and grow them. They will become 8 identical individuals. They will become identical twins. Not twins, octuplets. If you take the 8 cell stage out, and if you can separate each cell and let it grow, they will become 8 human beings that are exactly like one another. Then are the cells of the blastocyst haploid or diploid? Diploid. Where does the blastocyst reach as it hatches? To the uterus. So if we were to draw this here, by the time the blastocyst comes, is it not here? So it is in the uterus. Now, what if the blastocyst were to hatch here?
Ectopic pregnancy.
That will be ectopic pregnancy. That pregnancy has happened in the fallopian tubule. Will it go to term, or will this woman be at risk of her health?
She could die.
bleed. She could have other issues. Hormone secreted by the trophoblast. HCG. What's the role? To keep the corpus luteum intact, to maintain pregnancy to happen. Functions of placenta: to nourish the embryo, nourish and exchange of gases, nutrients, provide immunoglobulins. That will be your final exam question. Now I am pulling them together. In the final exam, I might say, which immunoglobulins cross the baby from the mother through the placenta?
IG, IgA, and G and A.
IgG. G went through the placenta, A came through milk.
Oh, right.
Okay, in the placenta, what are the 2 parts of the placenta? The mother's tissue is going to be the endometrium, stratum functionalis. The fetal tissue will be Chorion, very good. Fetal tissue will be chorion. Then we spoke about the amnion, chorion, right? Amnion makes the bag, yolk sac does the blood vessels, chorion is what makes the placenta, and then allantois is a trash can. Then gastrulation, what are the three germ layers? Ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. Ectoderm is what is going to make which systems? Integumentary and nervous system. Mesoderm, entire connective tissue. So cardiovascular system is mesoderm. Entire cardiovascular system. Can you believe that? And then skeletal system. And the muscle is mesoderm. Then endoderm will be the some organs and then pretty much the lining of your GI tract. Organogenesis, just know which one comes first, an embryo or the fetus. E comes before F. Can you remember that? Embryo comes before fetus. And then you have the average length of pregnancy is how many weeks? 40 weeks. Gestation is 40 weeks. And then what does oxytocin do?
Contraction.
Helps with contraction. What type of feedback is it?
Positive.
Positive. Then Apgar scores. What is normal? 8. 8 or above is normal. Then colostrum is what milk? When would you see colostrum? 10 days after birth or immediately after birth? Immediately after birth. Advantages of breast milk. Now, what is the antibody you are getting through breast milk? IgA. I might not ask you that question now. It will be in your final exam because I'm putting 2 chapters together. That's how your final exam questions will look. More general in nature, but more seeing if you understood the whole story. Then abruptio placenta is when the placenta attaches to the base of the cervix, like over the cervix, so it might come out. And then that's placenta previa. Abruptio placenta is when the placenta just detaches abruptly, resulting in a miscarriage. Teratogens, we spoke about them, any chemical that can cause a mutation or harm. Ectopic pregnancy, any pregnancy that's happening outside of the uterus. Uterus is where you want the implantation. Any implantation outside of the uterus is ectopic. Preeclampsia is blood pressure, high blood pressure during pregnancy. And then twins. What results in identical twins?
The zygote.
Zygote splitting into babies is identical. But 2 eggs being fertilized by 2 different sperm is fraternal twins. Could you have different sexes in identical twins, like a boy and a girl? No. It's your exact same. You make a photocopy of yourself. That is identical twins because the zygote had divided. But fraternal twins, you could have a boy and a girl. Both. Could have triplets. We spoke about birth control just now, which is the permanent methods, vasectomy and tubal ligation, which is the safest to prevent sexually transmitted diseases, any type of barrier, right? Like a condom. And then we come to genetics. What did we do here? Just make sure you know the definitions of all of them. What is genetics? Study of heredity. What is allele? Alternate form of a gene. What is genotype? The genetic makeup of an organism. What is phenotype? Physical appearance. So I say Carolina has blue eyes. Which trait am I describing? A genotype or a phenotype? Because I'm describing a given feature, it's a phenotype. Are we good? Then haploid and diploid. Are we good? Diploid, how many sets of chromosomes? 2 sets of chromosomes. Haploid is half the number. Homologous chromosomes. Chromosome number 1 is homologous to chromosome number 1 from the dad is homologous to chromosome number 1 from the mom. Chromosome number 2 is homologous to 2. Then homologous means they are identical chromosomes. Will chromosome number 4 from the mom be similar to chromosome number 7 from the dad? No. When you are using the word homologous, they are identical. Then we got the idea of homozygous. What is it? 2 A's, 2 uppercase A's or 2 lowercase A's. What is heterozygous? You have 2 different alleles. You have a big T with a lowercase t or a big G with a lowercase t. Basically, same alleles, homozygous, different alleles, heterozygous. Then we came to dominant recessive traits like albinism, right? We spoke about what if it's a recessive trait, then only the person who is homozygous recessive will get it. Then incomplete dominance, examples were sickle cell anemia that I gave you. Then for codominance, example was blood typing that I gave you, where A and B together show up as AB, right? And then multiple alleles, I also gave you the example of blood typing for multiple alleles. Sex-linked inheritance, I said X-linked inheritance is the traits that are sitting on the X chromosome, Y-linked inheritance are sitting on the Y chromosome. X-linked recessive traits are pretty common. The examples were color blindness, red-green color blindness and hemophilia. Then what is polygenic inheritance? Where it's not just one gene with two alleles, it's many genes sitting on different chromosomes with multiple alleles. And example for polygenic inheritance I said was height in humans, skin color in humans, intelligence in humans. Then what is euploidy? Euploidy is having the right set of chromosomes, 46. 2n equals 46, euploid. 2n equals 47, aneuploidy. The most common aneuploidy that we encounter is Down syndrome, which is 2n plus 1. In somebody with Down syndrome, you have 46 chromosomes plus 1. Then you say trisomy 21, which means you are telling all the other chromosomes are 2, but they have 3 21s. You are giving the number. So if I say what does trisomy 5 mean, you tell me every other chromosome is 2, but 5 is repeated thrice. So anytime you hear the word trisomy with a number, that is a chromosome that is 3 copies. Everybody else is 2. That's it.